What's left of the fragments and essence of mood.
It's time to go all in.
On the next all-new episode of Dragon Ball Daima.
What is the name of this Majin?
He is Majin Du.
Dragon Ball Daima. Next Saturday at midnight. Only Toonami on Adult Swim. On the next all-new episode of Dawn to Dawn.
Wouldn't surprise me if a human's got them. They're all pretty and shiny and golden. The problem is, if a human does got them, they'd activate the spiritual power in the human. They'd be seeing spirits then. And if they can see spirits, that means spirits can see them. They'd be in a whole lot of danger.
Dawn to Dawn. New episode next Saturday at 12:30 a.m. on Toonami.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Toonami Therapy. We're recording August 13th of 2025. I'm Michael.
Yeah, hello. I'm Tommy.
And, well, as always, we're here to just be talking about anime and other things we've been watching, some of them on Toonami. And, yeah, I don't think there's anything new to really mention but other than, well, I can't remember if they mentioned if we knew this before, but didn't they mentioned that, yeah, they're getting the next Blue Exorcist season.
Yep, that was the news of the week.
Okay, right, you alerted me to that, so that was good. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it. Let's just jump into it, starting with the series we watched on Toonami. So we've got Dragon Ball Daima episode 8. So Goku is fighting the I can't remember his name, but the guy who's guarding one of the Dragon Balls, and Goku beats him pretty easily. Really, Goku could have just gone Super Saiyan right away to win, but no, we had to spend some time with him at a lower level for hand to pad things out. Anyway, he wins, but then it turns out the guy says, all right, you beat me in combat, but now you have to beat me in a shell game. And Goku does, because in what I wonder if this was just taken straight from a bit from Hunter x Hunter, but where just like Gon, he says, yeah, the shell, it's not under any of the shells, it's just being held by a guy who's behind me. That happened in Hunter x Hunter. I think it was the first time they visited Killua's family's mansion. It's I want to say like their name, but I can't remember. What was it, like Zoldyck? It was something weird like that.
Yeah, Zoldyck.
Okay. Oh wow, I actually remembered it right then. I thought there was a second Z in there somewhere.
No, you got it.
All right. So they got one Dragon Ball, and then they go off to, I guess, get some more. And yeah, meanwhile, the bad guys are plotting some things, and that I can't actually really remember the specifics of, unfortunately, but that was basically the plot of the episode. So
yeah,
it was okay.
Yeah, I agree. It was okay. Nothing special about it. I just don't like these Kais. I don't think they're good characters to be carrying the show. I mean, we've got like a whole boatload of characters who are sitting around doing nothing, and we have to have these people running the show. So, yeah.
All right. Yeah, just not much to say about it. It was okay. It was, I think, so But yeah, I'm just still feeling so much this series really should have been just maybe 12 or 13 episodes, and then they could have cut out a lot of the weaker, like, pacing stuff, which is the feeling I'm really continuing to get. So, yeah. All right. Well, after that, we get Don to Don episode 3. So, since Momo collapsed at the end of the previous episode, she's not able to keep the curse at bay. So Turbo Granny starts taking over Okaroon, but Momo's grandmother shows up right then and is able to beat Turbo Granny and, fix things for them. Basically, she's able to, at least when Okaroon's in this one place, to make it so that the curse doesn't take effect on him. Anyway, so then she tells Momo and Okaroon, yeah, you guys need to just basically you need to beat Turbo Granny. You need to lure her out of her home base in order to be able to beat her, and you're going to do some training to get through that. And they do a bunch of training, although I'm not sure. I'll get to these. So they do that, and then Turbo Granny's like contacts them to say, yeah, you'd better hurry up and get over here, else I'm going to do some bad stuff. So they decide to, so they head over there, and that's this episode's ending. I mentioned training, but honestly, I'm pretty sure they don't think like this was like a training arc or anything, because I'm pretty sure this episode spent more time on Okaroon having like about on the issues they would have with Okaroon just going to the bathroom than they did actual training.
Yeah.
Yeah. That so I mean I there's stuff I like about the show. Some of the jokes are good. I like the characters, but then you just get all this like kind of unnecessary. It's funny if you would say toilet humor, but it really is literally toilet humor here. There's all this stuff about. Yeah, there's all this stuff like he has to go to the bathroom. Okay, but Momo needs to be looking at him to be able to not to, keep him from turning back. And there's all this stuff about that, and it's just, yeah, the joke. So that kind of took it down, especially because they spent so much time on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of brought down the episode. I was a little confused during it too, so yeah.
Yeah, and it almost like kind of felt but yeah, aside from that, I thought it was a mostly solid episode. That's like the thing with Don. There's some stuff I really like in it, and then there's always the stuff where I'm like, you didn't really need to be doing all of that stuff in there. So yeah, I will say at least the anime did the part where after Momo's fallen unconscious and Turbo Granny's, going after her, they did take out most of the kind of unnecessary fan service stuff there. There was like multiple panels devoted to giving you like upskirt shots of her for some reason, and the anime like got rid of most of that. So that was so they toned that down a little. That's like the thing, all this like weird, crude humor that I don't think helps the show that much, but then the other stuff is good. That's the annoying thing for me. Oof. Okay. Yep. All right. Anything else to add?
No, that's about it.
Okay. I am wondering because her grandmother made the point of, okay, you guys need to wear these ridiculous outfits because they're anti-evil or whatever, and Momo's like, yeah, I don't want to. It's and just puts you in something else after they get an event. I'm wondering, okay, how much is that going to bite them ultimately, or maybe it won't. I don't know. It actually might be funny if at the end she says, yeah, we changed back into our regular clothes, and then her grandmother just says something like, what was it? It was just something like, oh yeah, I just did that's fine, I just gave you those because I thought it would be funny. I'm reminded of that immortal line from what was it, like Kung Pao Enter the Fist, where the guy that just says, pay no attention to Wimplo. He is an idiot. We have purposely trained him wrong as a joke. Okay. So, Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War, episode 11. Okay. So, Ichigo gets kicked out of the Soul Society and sent home. The guy, I can't remember his name, the guy who made all the Zanpakuto, he like basically says, yeah, all of them have, all like the Soul Reapers have I can't remember what it's called. It starts with an A, something that they have before it's like a real Zanpakuto. But Ichigo doesn't have one, so he needs to figure out where he's from, which is why I kicked him out. I don't know why he didn't tell Ichigo this instead of just throwing him out. I'm also unsure if he knows what in Ichigo's backstory is making it so it won't work for him, or if it's and if that's the case, maybe he should have told Ichigo. And if he doesn't know, well, he still should have just explained this to Ichigo. Anyway, Ichigo goes ends up back. He meets up with his father. Well, after a scene where I can't even remember her name, that woman that he was working for, that was introduced in the previous arc, the Fullbringer one who he worked for or something, and he spent some time, and she's like, telling, hey, you should gives him some advice, and I don't know why that scene was there at all, because all that happens is Ichigo's father shows up anyway and then tells him everything. So that whole thing felt like it was padding, but it was in the manga, so it felt like it was padding in the manga, I guess. Or maybe the author just thought, oh yeah, I want this character, I want her to show up sometime in this arc, and there's not really any other opportunity, so I guess she's here for this. Anyway, so Ichigo's father tells him, and by the way, maybe you remember better than I did. Did Ichigo at this point know his father was his former Soul Reaper or not?
I'm not sure.
I know, because I don't think he did through the, or maybe he did learn at some point later on in the fake Karakura town arc. That arc, the whole Aizen fight is such a blur to me. I can barely remember anything in it. So I don't know. There was that. Maybe it happened during Fullbringer. I just don't know if this is the first time Ichigo knows his father was a former Soul Reaper or not. In any event, he at least knows now, and his father starts telling him his backstory, which is he was a Soul Reaper captain. He came to this town because there were some really strong hollows he needed to fight. Meanwhile, we see the stuff about Ichigo's mother, who was a Quincy, and they meet each other because they both kind of end up saving each other from the hollow. And yeah, it basically ends with them kind of meeting. Also, Aizen was there, but just decides, I don't know. We'll just I don't care about this. It is kind of funny. Aizen's just there, and he's like, well, we won't interfere. Maybe something interesting will happen.
So if Aizen would have made a move in that situation, then none of this would have ever happened. Like if he would have broken up their marriage, then Ichigo never becomes the super strong person, and then Aizen's plan ends up working.
Maybe I'm trying to think, because Aizen's plan was now that I'm thinking about it, I know said he needed Orihime for it. Did he actually need Orihime? I can't remember if he actually used her, or so he didn't. He just did all the kidnapping stuff for kicks.
Right, yeah, because remember part what I'm watching right now, he in the fake Karakura town, it was a few episodes ago whenever he was like, yeah, I don't really need Orihime. I just kind of wanted to lure everyone in, and then get them stuck in Waco Mundo while I destroy Karakura Town. And then it was like, well, Kisuke Urahara made a fake Karakura Town. So, so
yeah, you just made a fake one because I don't know. He wanted, I'd say, oh man, I'm reminded of this one thing from I actually used to watch soap operas a bit quite a while ago, and there's this one story in Days of Our Lives where a bunch of characters died. They were all killed, but it turned out they weren't killed. They were actually just transported. They were just like unconscious and transported to this place, this small island in the Caribbean where someone built an exact replica of their town. And it's just like what I can't even remember if we got an actual explanation for why they did all of that. It got the story got weird and complicated, but I mean, I know the reason they did that, like out of universe, was just because it meant they could reuse all the same sets. But it's still, but it's just like, wow, the character did that, huh? So anyway, yeah, adds to the episode itself. I mean, well, the thing I did is when I gave my description, I kind of already gave a review of it. I think the backstory, at least so far, was okay. I can't really. I watched it, but I can't remember. I think it gets weirder afterwards. At least so far, it was okay. But yeah, I'm still just left wondering, why did we have that scene with Ichigo and his boss if it just didn't really matter here? Why didn't things get explained to Ichigo? Just questions like that. But this is the part where we get the big explanation of how, yes, Ichigo isn't just all those other things. He's also a Quincy.
Yeah, he's everything.
Mm-hmm.
He would have been about. He would have been about if the Bound arc had lasted longer.
Yeah, that would have all that just kind of also reminded me of, I didn't really ever care about their characters that much, but it is kind of weird the way, at least in when you look at it objectively in the anime, the mod souls just stop showing up. They just eventually disappear. Now I'm fine.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. They were filler characters that I don't need them around. Whenever they're around, it shows that what's going on is filler. I think I think a few times they managed to include them in they included them in some canon scenes, but whatever they actually said was basically filler there. But it's just weird the way they disappeared. You don't get an explanation or anything of them, okay, well, we're going to go someplace else now or whatever. They just stop showing up they just stop showing up. I wonder if they'll make a cameo at the end of 1,000-Year Blood War to try to give some sort of closure there.
I hope so.
Okay. Right. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention. Oh, this was something you wouldn't have noticed. This was legitimately, I think, the fastest I've seen an episode on Toonami go to commercial. It was 6 or 7 minutes in, commercial break. And then it came back. So that was a very short pre-commercial part and much longer, after it. I think it was like that I assume it was like that in the original also. So that was just kind of a little surprising. I was like, wait, what? We're 7 minutes after the hour. After the hour, because is there so that was kind of surprising to me. All right, moving on. Blue Exorcist, episode 36. So to make a long story short, Rin is able to, unlock his powers and stuff, and beats the bad guy, and everything is good. That's basically it. Although, what's his name? The guy that Yukio was fighting, he says, "Yeah, I'm okay now, so I'm just gonna leave." to show up again, and maybe by then I'll remember who he actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, other than that, it was basically, everyone works together, does their stuff. Rin wins the fight, and we get, I think, the first reference to the title of the series where Mephisto says something like, "Witness the birth of the blue exorcist," and says that's a creature that kills its own kind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you notice, or is it just me, or did that bikini on Shuro's body get like even smaller? Like it feels like it's shrinking every episode. And it's like it's gonna get to the point where it's just flat out nudity eventually. Yeah, I like this episode. I thought it was pretty cool. I like the everything about it pretty much. It was the characters helping each other out and getting along, and Rin finally being able to control his power. I thought these were pretty good things, and I enjoyed it. So yeah, good episode this week.
Yeah, it was decent. I don't know if it's gotten smaller in this episode, but it definitely has been much smaller than in the first season, which has just kind of puzzled me because, like, topping the first season, it's like there for fan service, but it seemed functional and stuff, and now it's just like, now we're gonna like eschew that in favor of just more extreme fan service. It's kind of it's kind of weird, and it really just does make me think, is Shura really just here kind of for fan service? It doesn't seem like she does all that much else at this point.
She's kind of like the Kisuke Urahara of this show,
I guess she is kind of like the more sort of higher up person, but yeah, it does. It's just a problem that it made her outfit look from something like, okay, that's like that because of fan service, but it seems functional. To the question of why are you fighting wearing this? There's like a difference between fan service that at least seems functional and fan service that's just there for fan service. Okay. So we go on to One Piece episode 739. All right. So there's some other stuff with them over on Dressrosa. And then the series remembers, Brooke and Nami and Chopper, they are characters in this series, aren't they? So they and Sanji are going over to this other island and with Caesar Clown because they're trying to actually, I can't remember why they went to the island offhand. But they're there and they end up fighting against another group of pirates. And, they do fine. Then we get this thing where this guy named Kaido, because he's, to build him up, he literally, I can't remember how high it was. He was on a cloud or something. He drops down from a cloud, hits the ground, makes this giant crater, and then survives. Because he's been like trying to kill himself, but it doesn't take. So that's the we get that. And I guess because that didn't work, he's thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna fight against these other pirates and stuff. And basically he's gonna it's just to set up to, this guy's really strong and they'll have to deal with him at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what happened to the big goodbye to Dressrosa? Like every single One Piece arc ends with one of these dramatic goodbyes where everyone's crying and everything, and then they're waving goodbye and all that. I mean, when's that going to happen?
I mean, I know they'll be leaving soon-ish, but I don't know exactly when it happens. I'd assume even with all the padding, they'd probably be leaving in just a few episodes. I'm kind of Do you want me to see how long it'll take us to get there?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, we're on episode 739. It looks like they're leaving in, let's see, trying to see exactly what point they leave. It looks like they're getting. It looks like episode 744 is when they formally leave. I think they actually spend multiple episodes on the process of leaving.
I knew it.
But yeah,
so,
it's.
How about Law? Like, does Law appear after this, or is he just a character for this arc?
He continues to show up.
Okay. Yeah, because he's one of the, what's it called? Worst generation, right?
Yeah, I think that's what they call it. He's also let's see. Well, he was one of the warlords of the sea, but he quit that, I think so.
But didn't Doflamingo quit it too, and he was just lying about it?
Doflamingo, okay, so he said he quit it, but then he said that he didn't actually quit it. But then then he said, that was all just a trick. I didn't actually quit it. But then he essentially quit it because of the way he, turned against the Navy. So so he is no longer one of them. Yeah. because like the 7 warlords, remember, those are basically pirates who have, in exchange for having their bounties removed by the Navy, do some basically the Navy will remove their bounties and turn to some extent a blind eye to what they're doing, as long as they're willing to sort of work with the Navy on some things. That's what the warlord system was.
Okay, so they're like vigilantes.
Yeah, kind of. It's why they just it's why he was able to do all this stuff in Dressrosa. With the Navy just being, yep, okay. That was the point Fujitora was, and I don't blame you for forgetting, because with all the padding you can easily forget it. But he really disliked that system, and basically was hoping that he'd be able to set this whole thing up so that Doflamingo would be defeated and overthrown, and such. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That's One Piece. All right. We'll move on to our non-Toonami series we've been checking out. So we've got Yu Yu Hakusho, episode 67. They changed the theme song. Well, I mean, the song is the same, but they changed the visuals.
Right.
I can't.
This one doesn't work. This one doesn't work as well as the other one. That's for sure.
I'm trying to remember when they aired this on Toonami, did they change the themes? I can't remember if they changed the visuals. I can't remember if they changed the visuals or not at this point. It's been so long. I feel like they didn't, but I could be misremembering. I am pretty sure they kept with the original ending theme for longer. So yeah, maybe they just kept the same original opening theme, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Regardless, new theme song. Well, same song, different sequence. So everyone's gone back to I don't know what do they actually call it? Do they just call? I mean, I guess they never left Earth technically when they went to it, but I just keep thinking I was just thinking about how everyone always says the world of the living in Bleach, and I was thinking, oh, they're back to the world of the living. Well, I guess he never left it technically. Okay, so basically, they're back to school. There's some new weird stuff going on that Botan's needs to get Yusuke to work on. But Yusuke, in the meantime, got distracted because because some guys challenged him to a fight and he agreed. But then it turns out, they have special powers, including I think one of them is indicated to basically have Shikamaru's power from Naruto. You can freeze someone if you step on their shadow. At least that's what it looked like happened. So Yusuke gets captured, and then Kuwabara and Botan, they do receive a note saying, hey, you can come rescue Yusuke, but you gotta come to this place, and you need to bring Hiei and Kurama. So how considerate of the kidnappers to give a reason for Hiei and Kurama to show up again. And yeah, that's our episode.
Yeah, so some funny stuff going on there with Yusuke and Kurabara at school. I thought some of their dialogue was really funny. So yeah, I thought this was a good transition back into the world of the living, as you call it, and and then Kurama also had some funny scenes, and with him trying to do his paperwork.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
And then Ogre accidentally messes it all up, and he has to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, some good jokes here. Definitely a pretty solid episode. Although I am left wondering if the guy's power is, hey, if I'm stepping on your shadow, I get to immobilize you. How did they get him how do they transport him exactly?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't actually remember if that was his power or not. I feel, but based on what we saw in the episode, the emphasis on him being on the shadow, I assumed that was it. Or wait, was he on Yusuke's shadow, or was he holding Yusuke with his own shadow? I know shadows were involved, but I can't remember which. Well, we'll find out.
All I remember about shadows is that episode of Paranoia Agent where certain people didn't have shadows and that meant they were dead, but we never figured that out until like the very end of the episode. I was like, oh, that was it. So because of that episode, I sometimes make sure that I have a shadow. Because I'm like, I don't want to be getting fooled by some sort of joke that I'm alive whenever I'm dead, so I better make sure I got a shadow. So, yeah.
Don't worry, I checked. I have a shadow. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho. All right, then we got we got Anne Shirley episode 11 in this one. Okay, so if it matters, this is where we are beginning the second book of the series. So Anne is so am I okay. I got myself confused because I was looking at something different. Right. So basically, Anne's gotten the job of being the school teacher at the school. I'm a little unsure about how exactly the stuff works. Is she the only one there, or does she just teach all the kids of this particular grade and the other teachers do others? I don't think she'd necessarily be the whole one. I just mentioned it because it seemed like all the kids she's teaching are on the younger side. Anyway, so she has some of that. I did think it was kind of funny when she's trying to tell one of the kids, you shouldn't be doing that, who was like, pouring water on someone. She's saying, you shouldn't do that. And she says, well, I heard that you had to stand next to the chalkboard as a punishment a bunch, and you freaked out because someone grabbed and you like stabbed someone on the head with a with like a chalkboard. So that was funny. Then the other big part of it is that Anne and some of the other people decide to, I can't remember what to call it, like Avonlea Improvement Association or something. Basically, they're trying to go door to door to try to get money donations from people to try to improve things. And honestly, I believe most of the episode is just them trying to do that and having a bunch of wacky interactions with people as a result. And they managed to make.
Go ahead.
And they managed to make some money. And once again, since I have no idea how much this money was worth in Canadian dollars back then, I don't know if it's a lot or a little.
Yeah, okay. I thought that the beginning of the episode was really fun with her trying to cheat and stuff. I thought that was really interesting. Then I thought the second episode, part of the episode, was really boring. The door-to-door salesman act that they put on, that was pretty boring in my opinion. So, yeah, I wish they would have spent more time on the former and less on the latter. So,
ironically, yeah. I actually liked the door-to-door stuff more. I thought, I thought, like, just the different people and all their different stuff that they were encountering was funny. Like, okay, we need to try to get money from this guy because he just had a kid and he's in a really cheerful mood, and all that. Just the thought processes they did through that stuff was kind of funny. Also, I meant to comment on this, I think, an episode or two ago when it first noted. But I just wanted to mention I appreciate it, find it interesting. Gilbert's voice is like noticeably deeper than it was in the earliest episodes, which I like, because that's what happened. He was like 12 at the start of the series. Now he's 16 or 17. It makes sense that his voice would deepen, and so they actually did that rather than just having the same voice the whole time.
Yeah, or changing voice actors.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess we'll move on. All right, we got Kowloon Generic Romance, episode 11.
Okay, so more confusing stuff. Basically, everyone's trying to figure out what's real and what isn't. And I'm trying to figure out the same thing. And yeah, I'm totally confused. Uh-oh. Sorry, I just had something happen here. Yeah. I honestly don't know what's going on. I just know that one guy is not going to kill Reiko, or is he going to kill him? I don't know. I'm confused.
The big takeaway, I think, from this episode is the fact that we find out, and I don't think we knew this before, but apparently the all this reality warping is based on Kudo's memories. Like, he's apparently the one behind all this, apparently unknowingly. That's why when he finds out split tongue guy was a guy, it makes then his past self disappears because he didn't, because he thought they were different people, and then just remembered they were the same person because his younger self, I think, or whatever, looked way more feminine. So that was sort of it was a little funny when someone said, "Oh yeah, we didn't tell you that he was a character like this. We didn't tell you he was a guy because we thought it was funny. You didn't know." So we get that. That's the big step forward, to have it just told. Yeah, it's all based on Kudo's memories, and that's affecting, and that's what's affecting things. So there's that. But so I appreciated the fact we were getting that. Now I'm a little confused how that fits in with. It seemed like that was a kind of abrupt explanation. Now maybe if I understood things better, or I had been paying better attention or something, that would have been more explained earlier. But at least we got that. And yeah, so we get that, and then some of the other characters, leave, and then they look back, and then they see, oh, it looked to us like, it's just the ruins of a city. So So it looks like we're going to be getting more in the way of answers and resolutions, which I guess makes sense because there's only 2 episodes left, but...
2 episodes?
What?
2 episodes?
2 episodes.
Okay. Some reason I thought there was only 1. What episode was this again?
11.
Okay, I bet I watched episode 12.
Oh.
Let's see. Let me go see. Yeah, I think I watched episode 12. I don't know what happened there. Let me see. Let me see my watch list. Let's see. Yeah, I watched episode 12. Oh boy. Okay.
Did you watch episode 11 or did you just skip to 12?
Well, I had to have watched it. I just don't remember when I watched it. I could have watched it last week. So I might have been like an episode ahead of you for a while now.
I think we've watched the... I'm trying to think. It part of the problem is because the series is kind of confusing when I'm trying to have trouble figure out. So did we just talk about different things? Were we talking past each other without knowing it or not? It's also possible maybe you because I've done this before where I watched one episode, like shortly after the podcast. Then, a week ago, a bunch of days go by and think, oh yeah, I need to watch an episode of that show for the podcast. And I watch a second episode, not realizing that I had already watched the episode.
Yeah, that's probably what happened to me. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm betting on that.
Okay. Well, that'll save you the trouble, I guess, of watching it again for this week.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So at least in the episode I watched, I can't comment on the 11th, on the 12th one. I thought it was some steps forward in some things. So I found it more interesting than so much of the more confusing ones. I mean, it was still confusing in some ways, but we were getting answers, and I appreciate that. All right.
Yeah.
So we then move on to Witch Watch, episode 11.
Okay, so we have this whole thing about dogs and raindrops that are going to harm Nico. So Mori goes to work on trying to prevent it, and then his pal runs into this guy who's got this drug that something about raindrops and people who use it are called dogs or something. I was a little confused on that. But he has this thing, and that's what he's trying to do to harm Nico. So this girl whose name, the cat girl, Nemu. Her, I love how her last name is Meow. That was pretty funny. And she goes and talks with them and tries to help them out, but they need to be on alert for this guy who's this older guy who's kind of evil, and well, not kind of, he is evil, but he is the one behind all these raindrops and dogs and stuff. So yeah, and that's about where it ends.
Yeah. We also get the reveal at the end that Kago, the black-haired guy who's kind of been hanging around for a while. Yeah, he's a werewolf, so
yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah, they're like Wolf, the sort of white-haired guy people just call Wolf. Yeah, that's him. When he it's his like transformation thing, because he like mentions, yeah, so like ogres lost the horns and the Tengu lost the wings. Well, things change for us also. So you don't transform during a full moon. You transform upon seeing a crescent moon or something that looks like it at least, and which makes you more aggressive and more strong. So you find out, oh, so he was actually Kago, which Which actually, somehow I had not been spoiled on. Because here's the thing, I knew Wolf was like an alter ego or alternate personality for some character. I had been spoiled on that, but I didn't know which character. I assumed he was just going to be some new character we hadn't met yet. It was like, oh, it's okay, it's Kago.
Yeah.
Whose name, who I was thinking, oh, that's his name? Okay. Wasn't Kago the other guy? No, that's Conchi. Darn it. These names both start with K and I get them mixed up.
Yes, I get them mixed up too.
So, yeah. So this one definitely went more on the serious side, but you still had jokes and stuff in it.
Yeah, still pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, yeah, I guess we'll see the continuation in the next episode. And then we've got My Hero Academia Vigilantes episode 9. So, Koichi's mother shows up and, well, he tries to pass off Makoto. That's her name. Makoto as his girlfriend. It doesn't work. No. So, ultimately, so his mother is kind of like, not trusting him based on that. Ultimately, though, what happens is that basically there's this thing that happens because I was a little confused by it. A cat like fuses with a bus or something. And
a cat bus.
Yeah. So basically, so that goes, so basically we get the classic thing of, oh no, we have to we're in the bus and we can't make the bus stop because, it's a cat. Anyway, Koichi, this other hero, I can't remember his name, but he shows up to help. Koichi ends up helping him some. Everyone gets rescued and it's all good and stuff. And also Koichi is really not, careful at all about hiding his identity from anyone, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess his mother is satisfied with all that now, and all that is good. And yeah, that's basically the episode.
Yeah. So, it reminded me of this thing I once read about. It was in Germany or somewhere where a guy was in his car on the freeway and his brake pedal stopped working. So he called the police and they set up this elaborate escort where his car was just going 120 miles an hour and finally ended up in a spot where he could stop it without getting hurt. So that's what that kind of reminded me of. I read about that sometime. I don't remember if it was Germany or Sweden or it was a European country, and everyone got over to the side of the road to make sure they wouldn't get hit by him. I have a hard time understanding how someone could even set that up, but I guess it did happen. So, yeah, the cat bus, kind of like My Neighbor Totoro, which I did not like. I thought that was an overrated movie. It's a very famous movie and it's very popular, but I watched it and I have to admit I fell asleep while watching it. It was so boring. But it had a cat bus in it too. And it kind of looked like this cat bus too. It was like the same species of cat. So I'm like, okay, this is obviously a reference to My Neighbor Totoro. And his mother has a quirk, and her quirk is to be able to slap him from long range. Do you see that?
I think I forgot about it, but now I kind of remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, every time he gets slapped, that's her using her quirk that allows her to smack him from long range. So, that's her quirk. is so useless, just like his quirk is pretty useless too.
Well,
Not quite as useless as Pop Steps though. Pop Step has like the most useless thing because it doesn't help her catch anyone. She just performs. That's it.
Well, we do actually something I forgot to mention. We do find out apparently is Koichi's quirk is better than we thought, because we thought it was just let him slide, but apparently it lets him fly now also. That kind of I don't feel like, unless maybe I missed it and that was like kind of alluded to before, but it felt like it just kind of happened suddenly out of nowhere. And his mother said, "Oh yeah, when he was a kid, he flew around," and I'm thinking, okay, that seems convenient to just tell us about it now.
Yeah, really. I didn't understand. Like, why is he been holding that in all this time? That was a little suspect to me. That it's like, oh yeah, he can fly. Yeah, how about this? Like it was never mentioned before, never used before, and it doesn't get used until a very convenient point in the plot. So yeah, that was a little bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah, this whole thing, this plot of, we can't stop the bus or whatever, that's been done in different things. There's an episode of the X-Files about it. Well, that was because there's this guy who basically, there's this thing that happened to him that made it so that if he's actually if he wasn't moving at that kind of speed, he would die. So it was because of, I can't remember what, it was some sort of experiment done on him or something. That was the plot of it. And Mulder gets kind of roped in to it and is trying to, and it's like continuing to keep the car going and stuff to try to keep the guy alive. But of course, the big one everyone remembers is the movie Speed, where there's this bus that's rigged with a bomb so that if it goes below 50 miles per hour, it'll explode and they'll all die. I never saw the movie. I mostly remember it for this one sort of like a bit that people made fun of, where the bus like has to has to jump over a bridge, and it's like you look at the shot and you're like, oh yeah, that is not. It's obvious that it's like didn't go out. It does not look right. The special effect they had to use for it. So yeah.
So I suppose it could happen in real life then.
There wasn't I've seen that like plot done before. There's this one like Simpsons comic that basically did that. I assume it was like meant as a spoof of the movie Speed. So
I just think there's so much traffic in real life that you wouldn't be able to do that for very long. At least in Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh is ridiculous with traffic. Like you can't do that at all around here. So I don't know how that, and Los Angeles, where most movies are filmed, I was there too, and there's way too much traffic there too to pull off something like that. So I don't know where they're getting these ideas of places where you can drive for long portions of time without hitting anyone,
Well, they were on like the freeway or highway or something, if I remember correctly, because they mentioned a thing about how they were doing something to make the cat stay on that rather than when it might have gone into residential areas. Wasn't it like
that's what I'm talking about. Freeways and highways are that jammed on, even here in Pittsburgh. So yeah.
I don't, at least where I live, I don't think, well, it depends on what we mean by highway. If we're talking like the ones, the one, like the sort of what they call like the interstates, or maybe that's not the interstate. I don't know. I'm just talking about the ones that are kind of highways, but they're like, 55 miles per hour. And then you have like the real highways that have the 70 miles per hour.
Yeah, even those.
Okay. I don't think I remember on those seeing any slowdowns, but I don't know how long they were working on this one.
All the time around here. So
okay,
yeah, yeah.
All right. So yeah, so that's the episode for this one. Okay, all right, I guess we can move into what our picks were for the best ones.
Yeah, my top Toonami one was Blue Exorcist, and my non-Toonami one was My Hero Academia.
Oh, this is a really tricky one for me. I thought I wrote something down to remind myself, but I don't think I did. So, a lot of things were kind of similar in quality for me. I think, it seems like all the stuff on the Toonami had something I really liked and something I didn't really like. So I'm trying to figure out how it all averages out properly for that. Don't know if I want to pick. Well, I guess I'll pick One Piece because it's the one that I remember the least of anything that I disliked. Even if there wasn't, even if I don't think there's anything on it I liked as much as the other series, it's all in terms of averaging out. I guess it came out on top. All right,
okay.
For the non-Toonami series, I think I will pick. Ooh, that's a tricky one. There's a bunch of good stuff here. I'll go with Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay.
All right. I think that's all of them then. So anything else to talk about?
Do you think Toonami will get the third season of One Punch Man?
That's the question. I don't know. The last time they had One Punch Man was so long ago. They never got the second season of Mob Psycho 100. Although they did, and it seems like they have been unable to get the new My Hero Academia stuff. But of course, who knows? Maybe they'll just announce, "Yeah, we got it now." It doesn't seem. The thing is, all the series they're in, none of them are ending particularly soon. Even if they're only going to have this first season of Dawn to Dawn, because it's got two seasons. Well, technically it's a split season, so it's two. It's one season that's just split. But if we count them as different seasons, I don't know if they'll go into the second one or not, which is actually airing right now. So, but even if it's just this, they've still got like 9 episodes left of it. Let me actually see. There's 12 episodes in this one. So, and we've got 3. So, yeah. I don't know. When does the One Punch Man third season start? Isn't that coming in the fall?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Let me check again. Yeah, it's coming in October. So by then maybe the other series would end, but they'd have to be waiting for the dub. I really have no idea. It's hard for me to figure out what Toonami might or might not get. I was surprised that they got Bleach. Apparently, I think Jason DeMarco said in an interview, "Yeah, we just kept asking Hulu so many times that he finally gave in." So it's like a possibility, but because they had it before, but I don't know. It's a higher a more notable property, so it would be cost more to get in. I this is a lot of words and time to basically say I don't know. It all depends on what kind of contracts they might have they might have from before then, all sorts of other stuff. I'm going to guess no, but it really could go in any way. I mean, we still haven't gotten Dr. Stone back, so who knows?
Oh yeah, Dr. Stone. Yeah. Yeah, we need that.
Yeah, I'd honestly be curious to know like what these what their stances are. Like, what series are they just legitimately? We can be sure they won't be getting back, at least as things are. Or what shows might be on the docket eventually? Like last they said, yeah, we're just not getting JoJo. Netflix is not interested at all. And I guess that could always change, although I don't really. It probably is unlikely that Netflix would do it. I like with Bleach, at least, Hulu isn't a direct licensor. Viz Media, which is also the company that translates the Bleach manga series and a whole lot of other manga, they're the ones who have it. So it might be easier to go through them because, you know, they don't own any platforms. They don't have a dog in any of this stuff. So I think that's probably one of the things, you know, that got us Zom 100 and what was the other? There's something. Oh yeah, and Yashahime. Viz licensed those, and then they just sub-licensed it out to different platforms. So those sort of things can happen. You know, it's like with Don to Don. I think this was a case where one group licensed it and then sub-licensed it out to all these different platforms. So this is again me just babbling on and not actually saying, and all just to say I don't know, but it could happen based on what we know. It at least might happen, but I definitely would not expect it, and that's my very lengthy explanation just to say I don't know. So anything. So what were your thoughts on that?
Oh, what? One Punch Man.
Yeah, do you think they'll get it?
Yeah, I'm gonna bet they do.
Okay.
They get like the big shonen stuff, so although I don't know if it's technically shonen or
One Punch Man is seinen. I actually.
Okay, so yeah, I'm wrong about that again. I never know the difference between shonen and seinen.
I mean, it is in a number of ways kind of arbitrary. Like there's some series you're like, wait, that's shonen? It seems like way more adult than that. I was recently looking up. I was just randomly looking up this series. I haven't read it, but I've heard of it, called Happy Sugar Life. And by the way, the series is the exact opposite of its title, just so you know. It's like this it's much more dark story about like this how did it even describe the premise? It was just the series is centered on high school girl Sato Matsuzaka, who befriends a mysterious little girl named Shio, who is abandoned by her mother and immediately becomes highly attached to Sato. They both agree to live together in Sato's apartment, and the former vows to protect that feeling of love, even if it means committing crimes or even killing people. So yeah, that's a Happy Sugar Life, and it was shonen. I just always assumed, oh, this is like a seinen series, but nope, ran in a shonen magazine. And that just is the thing. Shonen and seinen, it's really just a matter of demographics, not content.
Yeah, I remember I once told you on this podcast that I wanted less shonen stuff like Tokyo Ghoul and more seinen stuff like Akame ga Kill, and you're like, no, it's the other way around. And it's like they're giving you what you want, and you're complaining about it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it also depends, I guess, on the magazine, because some shonen magazines definitely go for sort of more mature stuff, like the series I just mentioned, Happy Sugar Life, that ran in the same magazine as Akame ga Kill, for example, and those both went into the more serious things.
Yeah.
But it's still a shonen magazine, whereas, like Weekly Shonen Jump, where that where like most of the series that people think of as shonen came from, like Dragon Ball, Naruto, Bleach, Demon Slayer, Dr. Stone, shonen demographic, but not necessarily genre. Ice Shield 21. I mean, Weekly Shonen Jump is where most of those super big hits come from, but where that like doesn't quite go to that level. Like, there's still like, some like more maybe stuff aimed at a somewhat older crowd, but still within shonen, like, Death Note ran in Weekly Shonen Jump, for example, as did The Promised Neverland, and what's another thing? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that really blurs the line. It ran in Weekly Shonen Jump for a long time, then it moved to a seinen magazine. So yeah, that's the thing about all that. It's just kind of interesting the way those things are. So yeah, and while I probably actually could talk a bunch about different like shonen and magazines, we are running a bit long as it is.
Okay, sorry.
No problem there. It's something I might, under circumstances, be interested in talking some about. It always is interesting, when the situations where something runs in Weekly Shonen Jump and then it's a failure, and people say, oh well, maybe if it ran in a different magazine, it might have done better. I mean, there's some series that I kind of feel like they would be popular wherever. Like I think even if it feels a bit more off-brand for its kind of sports series, I think Blue Lock, if that ran in Weekly Shonen Jump, that would have been a hit there too. It runs in, for the record, a Weekly Shonen magazine, which is basically the second most popular manga magazine in Japan. You really need to understand just how big Weekly Shonen Jump is compared to all the other manga magazines. I saw some data on, what the magazine circulation was. Weekly Shonen Jump had a circulation of about as much as the second, third, fourth, and fifth magazines combined did. Yeah. It's always just interesting to look at them and see how many of these series we actually know. Let me, Weekly Shonen Magazine. What have we? That's got that had Rent a Girlfriend, Shangri-La Frontier, Blue Lock. I think that's all the series that we watched that run in it. But there's some other stuff. Yeah. But Weekly Shonen Jump's always the king. It's the only manga magazine I think that actually makes a point to officially simulpub every series in it. Okay, that's your brief take on on some stuff about manga magazines. Maybe one day I'll babble on about even more stuff, but for now I think that's it. All right, anything else to say before we head off?
Nope, that's it.
All right, everyone. With all that said, yeah, I've got nothing else to say. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Toonami Therapy. We're recording on August 21st of 2025. I'm Michael.
Yeah, hello. I'm Tommy.
And it's our podcast where, we just said it was a podcast where we talk about anime and Toonami, and have for a while been not been getting these episodes up in a timely manner. Sorry about that. But apart from that, we do the thing that we just talked about. So intros are hard. So shall we just jump into it?
Yep.
All right. So beginning with the series that aired on Toonami this week, we've got Dragon Ball Daima episode 9. So in this episode, what happens is that, their Dragon Ball that they had gets stolen while they're asleep, but they had a tracking device, so they go there and get them. Then we also have Vegeta and his group show up. They interact briefly, and then which is actually pretty enjoyable and fun. They interact briefly with Goku's group, but then they end up having to get split up again. So Yeah, it's just back to Goku and Shin and Glorio, maybe. Also, the bad guys are doing something, but I can't remember exactly what it was they were doing. But they were doing something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not a bad episode. I thought it was pretty entertaining.
The stuff with Vegeta and when he was there, that was just much more funny, and I wish that they had. I wish they had stuck around because when they're on screen, it's much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny, that scene, but rest of it was just okay.
Yeah. I don't know. There's never that much to discuss about Daima because it's just kind of straightforward and yeah.
How long is it?
I think it's 22 episodes total. Or was it 20? Let me double check. Dragon Ball Daima is 20 episodes, so we got 11 episodes left. No, sorry, we got 10 episodes left. Or wait, is it? Am I counting inclusively? It's yeah, 11. I was right the first time. I wasn't counting the 10, and then I thought, wait, what? Well, I was counting the 10. Wait, did I say 10 or 11 first? I don't know if I was right or wrong at the beginning. Well,
doesn't matter.
Let's try to ignore my failures of basic arithmetic and move on to Don. So, episode 4. They decide they're off to go and fight Turbo Granny. They get there. There's a whole bunch of fighting and some things where, Momo tries to lure Turbo Granny out by saying, hey, give us a 10-minute head start. But then Turbo Granny decides to count just by going 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Says, you didn't say how you wanted it counted. Anyway, they managed to fight her off and get out. Turbo Granny then summons a bunch of zombies to attack them. There's a whole bunch of stuff there with, Okaroon turning into that sort of, I don't even know what it's supposed to be called, but the monster self. Ultimately, they managed to, Momo manages to just attach herself to a train with her psychic powers. Turbo Granny chases after them, but then because the train's going so fast, it crosses the limit. Turbo Granny's defeated, and then it seems the character a villain died, so we have to get the thing about her backstory. Actually, we don't even get a flashback. It's just she wasn't so bad, but then got corrupted or whatever. So there we go. And everything seems back to normal for now, except we've got a whole lot of episodes left. So obviously things aren't just going to go completely back to normal.
Yeah, so I keep coming back to the Fooly Cooly comparison. It's not as weird as Fooly Cooly. It's more lucid, but it does have that feeling of just nonsense humor all over, and not making too much sense just for the sake of being funny, which it is funny. So it does succeed in that goal, but it also doesn't make much sense. So I have a hard time following along with it. And, but I thought that was a pretty good way for the episode to end with them, and then with them saying, well, is this goodbye or is this goodbye? It was pretty funny. And, yeah, so I thought this was a good episode, actually, of this show. So, yeah.
Yeah, the highlight of the episode was the part when they just start playing the William Tell overture during the chase scene, and then they switch to the Infernal Gallop, which actually a lot of people might not even know what that is. It's better known as the Can song, but its actual name is called the Infernal Gallop. It's from this French opera called Orpheus in the Underworld, which I've never seen, but I know the song because it's super recognizable. I don't think I've heard either of those in an anime since we watched Kill la Kill. Can you think of any anime since then that played either of those?
Nope.
Okay. There's probably some. It's just we haven't seen it. So yeah, that was good. Yeah, no, there's the problem. My issue is the show. There's so much I like, and then they always just have all this like kind of dumb, crude humor that just kind of takes me out of it. So, but other than that, and this was nowhere near the worst episode in that department. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I liked here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War, episode. I have episode 12. Is that right? Yes, it is. It's episode 12.
Yeah. So, basically, we get Ichigo's mother's backstory, which has been completely retconned from what it originally was, and she's a hollow, and she gets inflicted with this thing that makes it so that the only way for her to be saved is by Ishin deciding that he's going to quit being a Soul Reaper, and somehow that's able to save her. And then they're able to live here in the world of the living, which we talked about last week. And now Ichigo's going to be born with all those powers combined. And each scene tells us all the Ichigo, and Ichigo's like, yeah, okay. And that's pretty much it. And then he runs into this woman who I don't even remember who she was, but
she was
apparently
sorry, keep going.
Yeah, apparently she was in that Fullbringer arc where I don't think I watched that arc, which I will end up watching it, but not until probably December. So yeah. So yeah, a lot of flashback stuff, and not really much progress being made except for the fact that now we know Ichigo has Quincy powers. So there you have it.
Actually, I think we already knew that, didn't you, Hubaha, say something about that?
Yeah.
So what we've gotten through that. Yeah, she was in Fullbringer. I know you watched at least some of the Fullbringer arc because I remember us discussing it way back when. I think not like on this podcast. I think it was even before the podcast we had for a little while before this podcast, which isn't online anymore if anyone's wondering. But there was I know you watched at least some of it, but I don't know if you've seen the whole thing. Most of it's a blur. But yeah, she was there. She was also in the previous episode, but you missed that one, so that explains. So there's that. But yeah, honestly, my biggest issue with this episode is, well, in terms of like the plot, it's just like, it's okay. We get all this stuff. We all. But what I'm just wondering about is, okay, so Misaki, she like was one of the Quincy's, and she was staying with this Quincy family that I can't remember what her relationship from him. Wasn't she their niece or something? I don't know. And there was also Uryu's father, who was going to because he was involved in that also. He just married this other woman that was a Quincy who died, and that was the thing. We found out that Yuaba does some. I can't remember the name. It's in German, but like it just zaps a bunch of Quincy's of their powers or something. So Masaki wasn't able to fight the Hollow because she lost it conveniently right then. And Uru's mother died because that affected her. But to get to the thing, what happened to the other Quincy's that were like in that family? Like, did they die? Did they join up with Yuhabaha when he showed up? Because they aren't mentioned again. And I have no idea. I'm like, are they still alive? Did they die? I'm kind of surprised they never told us. But anyway, yeah, so I'm pretty sure a lot of this stuff was retconned. I do kind of am curious how much of this we learned. The author, when did the author like come up with this? Was it kind of earlier on, and he never just used it until now, or was it more recent, or what? because I don't think we knew that much about Misaki before this. We just knew that she like died to a hollow. That was basically our knowledge of her.
Yeah.
But my question, I'm just wondering, because Ichigo's father, so he was a Soul Reaper captain, and then, he left that to do all this stuff. So what did the Soul Society think happened to him? I don't remember that ever being addressed. Did they just say, well, we have lost contact with him. I guess he died or something. Moving on. It was at it. Did they just decide, yeah, this Toshiro guy, he seems like he'd be a more popular captain anyway. Let's just, make him the captain now. But I don't know. It just seemed a little weird that they apparently didn't do follow up and that no one mentioned this before. Like, shouldn't Rukia have known about that? I would think. I don't know. Well, when she met Ichigo and saw his father, or was that too? I don't know. I'm putting too much thought into this. Probably that trying to put too much thought into things in Bleach is a way to madness. The big thing I wanted to mention is that while this was this is how you do not do a post-credit sequence, because literally it's kind of long, which by itself isn't disqualifying, but literally it's just continuing what we just saw and is really plot relevant. They should have just put most of that before the credits, and then maybe you can have that thing where that woman shows up and gives Ichigo like that item in the post-credit sequence. It was just like a whole lot of stuff to put there when it just felt very disjointed to do that. Okay. And yep, that's Bleach. Moving on to Blue Exorcist, episode 37. So it's time to end the arc. Two characters that I can't remember anything about are apparently getting married. I think they were more important in this arc, but like I said, I couldn't remember who any of the new characters introduced in this arc were. So I could remember Ryuji's father. I could remember him. Everyone else was just, such a blur, and I don't know who they are because it was just kind of confusing when they were there and it wasn't so great. But whatever. Yes, they managed. The impure king is defeated. Everything's all great and such. And yeah, it's really just a bunch of wrap up stuff from what I remember. Nothing too much else I don't remember anything particularly distinct about it other than, well, it's just wrap up.
Yeah. It just felt like one of those end of arc One Piece type of things where everyone gets along with each other, and like usually whenever it's a One Piece thing, you got the long goodbye and all that. So we didn't really have that, but we did have a sort of reunion thing where everyone kind of tells Marine what they think, and yeah, and that's it. That's the season, and now we get season 3.
Which I'm going to say I hope is better than this one, because I thought this was a definite step down from the first season. I think, I mean, granted, the first season did have the last 8 or whatever episodes be not very interesting, like filler, but honestly, I think even if you include the filler, if you average it all out, I think the first season, even with the filler, ends up being better than this one. I'll take this, I think, over the filler from that. But yeah, before the filler, it was much more interesting in season 1, and this one I found less interesting. So yeah, maybe we can. It honestly, it almost kind of feels like you look at the end of this and you're thinking, well, I can't say the plot of the Impure King in the arc felt kind of like they did all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, I guess they did that, but did we really accomplish much in the overall plot? I mean, Reen gained better mastery of his powers and stuff, and was able to wield his sword. That's important, sure, but you could have kind of done that with any arc. The other thing is, okay, everyone's okay with Reen now, and I'm like, okay, sure, but that again, it didn't feel like you needed to do that, but again, that would have happened anyway. It just feels like those elements could have been integrated into any arc, and when you take away those parts, the arc itself is just not interesting to me. I mean, the Impure King was kind of like a boring villain. It was just an enemy, like no personality or anything, and sometimes that can work, but here it was just it wasn't really that interesting to me. So we're hopefully the next arc or next season can be more interesting. When how long is the next season again? Okay, the next season's another 12 episode one.
How many seasons are there? Like 5?
I think there's 4. Let me double check. Yeah, there's 4, although the 4th season is double length. It's 24 episodes.
Okay. So it's kind of like there's 5.
Yeah, that's the confusing thing about referring to anime seasons, because some are longer than others. Like they're coming when they announced that Black Clover is coming back. I think they said they referred to it as season 2, meaning the first. And if that's the case, the first season was 170 episodes.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah, if you go to like the Wikipedia article, it splits them up into 4 seasons based on, they just say, okay, you get based on, per year, essentially, I think. But what first season's 51 episode, they do it like that. But I don't think they were formally called that while they were airing. Anime seasons are just kind of regarded as, well, it's you start airing it, that's the season. When you stop airing it, that's the end of the season, unless it's a split season, in which case it's another season, but it happens later. Anime seasons have been getting more confusing in how you define them nowadays, it seems.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some other anime that was on hiatus for a while that they announced was coming back, and they referred to it as season 2, but I can't remember what it was. Maybe I'm thinking of Black Clover and thinking of something else, but yeah. Oh, no, right. I think they said, well, I think there might be another season of Boruto coming, but it wasn't like even an official announcement. They just kind of if I remember correctly, I was reading, they just on the info page about the studio, just slipped in the sentence of season 2 in production, and that's it. They didn't make any formal announcement, so that could literally just mean, yeah, we've just scheduled it, but we haven't done anything yet. Okay. Anyway, so
so oh man, I was thinking Bleach. If you go and see the DVDs, they mark them as seasons, but the seasons don't really make sense, where they're cut off from each other. It's not like they're cut off arc by arc. They say a different arc, like the substitute or the entry or whatever, but they aren't really split that neatly into seasons as the DVDs have them. And so, but yeah, I guess Black Clover's gonna come back with a second season, which will be slightly shorter at 169 episodes. And
they won't have to do any filler, at least, because the manga is almost done at this point. The only reason it's not done is because chapters have been coming out not very frequently now. Better than, say, Hunter x Hunter, who, although I think Togashi had now mentioned on like Twitter, yeah, I'm drawing. You'll be getting new chapters soon. And so, yes, you can. Yes, everyone, you'll get in a few months. You'll get 8 chapters, and then he'll go on hiatus again, just like the last 5 times they came back from hiatus. It's always like 8 chapters, just enough for a new volume. Anyway, going back to Boruto, yeah, apparently they just on the webpage is putting a second part has been confirmed. So not season necessarily, but part. Yeah, see, this is honestly one of the reasons why it is a little nicer to have anime that just like say, okay, we'll just do, 12 or 24 episodes and then we'll go on a break and come back later, because the seasons are easier to mark that way. And it also means you don't have to do all the padding and fillers. And speaking of padding, One Piece, episode 740. All right. So, right. Yes. So basically, we get to some stuff with Mancherry, who just heals everyone, and that's all great and stuff. Meanwhile, there's some stuff where we find out about how Kairos didn't want people to know he was Rebecca's father and just makes them think that she was some other guy's daughter who died. And then Fujitora decides, oh yeah, he rolls his die to decide whether to attack this time, and it turns up the right way. And he's like, okay, well, I guess we might as well go and try to capture those Straw Hats now. That was basically the episode.
Yeah. Typical One Piece episode. Very padded out.
Yeah, you really look at it, and hang on, let me see. I should have checked this before. How many chapters was this? Because this one felt like an episode especially that felt kind of padded out. Well, it's not like it felt that much more padded out than normal. It just felt like less happened than normal. So let's see.
And this was the episode where it said the Straw Hats under siege, and the siege happened with 10 seconds left in the episode. Or at least the start of the siege started.
Yeah.
10 seconds before the episode ended.
All right. Yeah, this one was it's a little weirder to count a number of chapters, because at this point One Piece chapters often are kind of a little shorter than normal. But this was a regular length chapter. Yes, we did not get a full chapter out of this one. We got pages 3 to 15 out of a 19-page chapter.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. I
assume that the final 4 pages are more of the siege that we were promised.
Yeah. Maybe I'm actually let me just check that. Look that up now that I'm suddenly curious about it. What was happening in those final ones? Let me see. This episode was 740. It corresponds to chapter 796. So let's see what we got here. 796. I'm looking at the Shonen Jump service, viz.com/Shonen Jump, to find this, in case anyone's wondering. Let's see. Which one's episode? Yeah, there is a little more. The guys start coming at them, and then really, like, the stuff we miss is mostly Luffy and the group deciding, yeah, we should probably get out of town and leaving. But there was still some of that stuff. So yeah, basically, again, padding, One Piece, kind of redundant at this point. Okay.
Yep.
So we move on from Toonami to Yu Yu Hakusho, episode 68. So Kuwabara and Botan get Kurama and Hiei. Well, and although they have to do some convincing of Hiei to help them out, he does agree. They go to the house they needed to. They find out one of Kurama's classmates is one of the kidnapper guys, and he has some sort of special power that makes it so that people can't attack while in his, well, what does he call it? Territory, his territory. And also sets it so that if you say hot, it will do something bad. And he's like, well, I guess someone has to test it out. Might as well. So he says it, and then he just becomes paralyzed as a result of that. So, and since no one else can get any, and yeah, that's it. So they have to find some way to get past the guy without, being able to fight or say the word hot.
Didn't Botan almost say it at some point?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, Botan came close to saying it, and it covered her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was a very entertaining episode, actually. I thought it was funny that the guy happened to be one of Rama. Is that it?
That's his name. Yeah, but his
real name.
I can't remember what was his human name? Shinuichi?
Sayori or something. Yeah, I forget.
Let me look that up quick. I'm pretty sure it started with an S.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, his name is Shuichi Minamino. So Shuichi.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So yeah, I like that whole thing. I thought it was there was just a lot of funny lines in this episode where people were angry and saying funny things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just found this to be an enjoyable episode.
Yeah, there was some good stuff, especially when they're trying to figure out a way to find Hiei. They're Botan suggesting these things, and people are saying, well, that won't really work. So finally, she decides to use this one that'll make it so that only apparitions can hear, and that hopefully will make him come there. Except that it turned out he actually was already there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's some good stuff here. This was an enjoyable episode. This has been a pretty decent start to the arc so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. After that, we've got Anne Shirley episode 12. So basically, we find out Marilla decided to adopt 2 more kids, where there's Davy and I can't actually remember the girl's name because Davy gets so much more attention.
Dora.
What? Dora? Okay, I knew it started with a D. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Dora's fine, but Davy is causes all these kinds of problems for everyone, with pulling pranks and doing dumb stuff. And yeah, so he kind of gets in trouble for a bunch of those things, but they manage to, I guess, teach him, yeah, you shouldn't tell lies. Because he didn't know you weren't supposed to. Yeah, whoppers is what they say. Was that what they originally said? Is that I don't know when the word whopper started being used for that. I have no idea if it was in the original book or not.
It came around when Burger King started up, so yeah.
What, it really only started then to mean lies?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you were saying maybe that it came that Burger King had that, and then somehow that mutated into that. Hang on, let me see. I'm trying to figure. Let me just actually look up the book and let me see if I can find it. Thankfully, the book is old enough that it's totally public domain now.
Well,
anyway,
yeah, my thoughts on the episode were that it seemed redundant because it seemed like Davy was just being Anne from her earlier years. So it felt like we had seen this episode like 10 times before because it was just like him getting into trouble the same way she got into trouble. And it was just like, I was like, okay, it's the circle of life thing here, but coming of age thing, but still it's the same thing that we already saw. So I I just felt like I'd seen this episode 5 times before. So yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it.
Okay. I found it. I looked it up. They do say Whopper. That's what he refers to it as. So it does actually go back that far. All right. I didn't know. I didn't know that. I thought that was a more recent thing, but apparently that does come back to that does go back to that. So that time period. I don't know how much farther it does, but yeah. I didn't think it was quite redundant because it does kind of make the point that Davy was a lot worse behaved than Anne was. It makes me like the stuff he was doing was making me think, wow, I wonder if this makes Morella think in retrospect, what thinks I'm really glad we didn't get the boy we originally thought we were going to. But yeah, it was the introduction of them, and that was the main thing. I wouldn't call it redundant, but I wouldn't say I found it super interesting either.
Also, they always say they're sorry, like I'm sorry. I'm just wondering, like, where did is that what they say in wherever this place is that they
Oh well,
pronounce the word sorry like this?
I mean, it takes place in Canada. That's how a bunch of Canadians say the word.
Okay.
I don't know. It's one of those things. I know I've seen that in a bunch of like media. That's kind of like the stereotypical Canadian accent to to like for words like sorry to say sorry, or for like about to say a boot. I don't know how common that actually is in Canada, but I just know that's like the sort of stereotypical accent. So I don't know. So yeah, that they say stuff like that because the series takes place in Canada, and that's trying to do a bit of a Canadian accent. Are the people? I don't know how many of the people doing the dubs are Canadian though.
I remember
Okay.
Inuyasha was one of those shows where like it was completely Canadian dub. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a bunch of times when you do that, you try to like, minimize accents. In this case, they might have been trying to, more play them up.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, okay, we'll move on to Kowloon Generic Romance episode 12.
Okay, so Yao Mei is attempting to figure things out. So is the white haired guy whose name I don't know, but he goes and tries to kill Reiko, and then she kind of just talks her way out of it. And then we find out that or we kind of already knew this, but that like all this stuff is like how oh man, how Kudo, how he imagined it, and that's how everything is. So yeah, there's a lot to resolve, and we only got one episode left, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, is this like it, or are they going to have more of this?
This is going to be the end. There shouldn't be
Okay.
more. I know the manga is still ongoing, but this is from what I've heard, yeah, it reaches an end here. Now again, I don't know. because the manga is not done yet, whether this is one of those things where this is just an original ending, or if the author gave them some notes on what was going to happen and they're just going through and they'll just go through that at an accelerated rate. So I don't know which one of those it is, but in comparison to the manga, I guess when the manga finishes, I know it's in its final arc, we'll find out. But for now, this is going to be the end of the anime. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, this episode definitely, well, not even just this one. I think the previous one also did seem like it was really just accelerating things a lot. And maybe that's because they decide, okay, we gotta, get all the resolution stuff into here. So and do it. So that's why we suddenly have like a lot more plot forward momentum. I've been, what surprising me is just how much it seems everyone, the reveal that, which we got in the previous episode, I think, but we got more confirmed here. Yeah, all this is like basically Kudo's imagination and memories causing all this stuff to be around. And I'm just thinking, wow, they were very surprisingly blasé about such a gigantic reveal.
Yeah.
It's just like, so that was a little weird, but beyond that, yeah, we found out some stuff. Things went forward. I guess we'll see how it all resolves next episode. We're obviously going to get something, not just by that number, but by the fact that we literally start seeing a lot of people in Kowloon just start vanishing, because I guess Kudo starts realizing, oh yeah, I guess I did make this all this stuff is something I came up with. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed about this show because I really liked it at first, and then it kind of just got so confusing. And that was the problem. Like, if it wanted to be convoluted, I'm okay with that. It just was so confusing that I lost track of what was real and what wasn't. And, so by the time we got here, I kind of lost interest. And now I'm like, well, it could have done so much better, So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be interesting to look to at some point whenever it finishes. Trying to look back at see what people say was different in the manga or the anime is what I'm curious about. I'm going to guess, given the fact that the manga is apparently approaching an end, even if it's not there yet, they must have just had the author tell them what was going to happen, and then they just kind of, went through it more quickly than the manga did. That's my guess. But because I'm thinking, if it's close to the end, why wouldn't you just try to adapt to the end? So we'll see, I guess. Like I said, we won't even know next week. We'll just know how it ends, and then later on can find out. But yeah, but just looking at it by its own thing, honestly, I thought this was I think I like this episode more than some of the other ones, because it does seem like we're moving forward, getting reveals and all that kind of stuff, even if some things are sort of confusing in it still. Okay. Then we move on to Witch Watch episode 12.
Okay, so it's Mori going up against the werewolf guy, who's actually the Who guy, and they're having a battle with each other, and then Nico and Khan, is that his name? Khan? Yeah.
Which character?
The yellow haired guy.
Oh, him? Yeah, it's Kanchi.
Yeah. So they go together and they defeat this one witch character who's like a bad witch and who's had a spell on the werewolf guy, and then the werewolf, they're able to beat him, and then it turns out, he wasn't a bad guy after all. He was just, kind of he just wanted his mother to be healed from the accident. So I was like, why did you put everyone through all this just for that? But yeah, so then Nico goes and just heals her, and it's like, oh, everything's fine now. So yeah, that's how this one went. And believe it or not, despite the way I described it, I actually really enjoyed this episode. Um, I, I know there, I've always hated the trope of trying to make the bad guy into the good guy, just a little confused, but it was okay here, so I didn't really mind it. So yeah, I thought it was actually a pretty good episode.
Yeah. We do get clarification or confirmation that yes, Kago and Wolf, that's apparently just his name, the werewolf side of him, they're basically separate personalities. It mentions
Mm-hmm.
that Wolf it can access Kago's memories, but Kago can't do that for Wolf. So Wolf can only communicate to him by like sending him sending a text message to himself or
Mm-hmm.
writing something. Yeah. And they definitely did try to say, okay, well, Kago's the bad guy, but we want to keep him around as a good guy. So we're going to have to give him like these very sympathetic backstory very suddenly to try to explain why he did all this stuff. And we could just go back to him being a good guy again. Also, they cure his mother's leg injury because they had some, I can't remember how they got, but it had some special single use healing potion. And I'm thinking, okay, how powerful is this potion? Can it just cure anything? Because if it can cure anything, I get the fact that it's nice to give her legs back, but maybe you should have given it to a quadriplegic or something instead. Or is it like more limited? In which case, okay, fine, you can give it to your friend's mother. But it just felt very weird to me for them to do that. Like, yay, we did this, and thinking, there's other people who maybe could have used that more because this is the way my brain works.
Well, it's equivalent exchange, So,
yeah, let's just go with that. So yeah, there were some fun jokes. There's some actually. The action was actually decent. I mean, look, this isn't like amazing action, but considering this is mostly just kind of a silly comedy show, it's pretty competent for that kind of show.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Okay. So, there's that. And then we got My Hero Academia Vigilantes episode 10. Okay, am I still doing this or do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay. So, episode 10, we've got all right, so we find out that Knuckle Duster, his wife, is in a catatonic state in the hospital because actually I can't remember what the reason was. Anyway, they're basically trying to track down, B girl is all I can call her because I can't remember her name. But yeah, he's trying to find her. We also do find out that when and also B girl apparent. Okay, what was her name? Let me look it up. Okay, Queen. That was it. That's her name, Queen. She when she goes to the her house, and there's the people she calls her mother and father who are both dead. I was trying to figure out, were those her actual parents she killed, or is she just like kind of weird and crazy and these were just two random people that she just killed to take their apartment and started calling them mother and father? Regardless of whatever it is, the other thing is, hey, Pop Step's gonna perform at an event for a department store, and that's like, I think, like about half of the episode, really.
Yeah, I don't really understand this. Like, first of all, like what is Pop Step doing that's really contributing to the Vigilante thing? Like, all she really does is performs. And then we have this. I have so many questions about Pop Step. Like, why does she have this split personality? Like she's like this incredibly confident idol singer, but then whenever she's not in that state, she's like completely incompetent. And, so I don't understand that. I also don't understand like why she uh gets offended whenever people are complimenting her butt because she wears like the most revealing costume you could possibly imagine. And then I don't know why, like, what age is she and why is she, if she's not old enough to do this, like, why is she doing this? I don't know. There's just so many questions I have about Pop stuff. But the biggest question I have about her is, like, what does she even contribute? She just, her only quirk is just being able to jump off light posts and stuff and perform idol shows. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the issues I'm kind of having with this episode. It focuses so much on her, and I'm thinking she's easily the least interesting of the main three. Heck, I'd find what's her name? I can't. What was the
Makoto.
yeah, Makoto.
Makoto.
I found her more interesting. Popstep just kind of felt like I can never even remember her actual name. Actually, to be honest, I actually have trouble remembering. I can't remember what Knuckle Duster's actual name is either. So I guess that's not an issue there. But she just doesn't really seem to do that much in the group. She kind of feels like the writer thought, okay, I need to have a female lead, but didn't really have that many ideas for what to do with her, at least so far. So I don't know.
Also, it does. This is something that I thought of, but like Makoto reminds me so much of Pencilgon that I can't separate the two in my mind. So, like, unfortunately, they aren't the same voice actors. I was hoping they were so I could say, okay, now I understand why. But no, they're not the same voice actors. So I don't know why, but I have those two completely fused together in my mind. So anytime I see Makoto, I think she's Pencilgon. So, or at least Pencilgon's real life identity, which really isn't all that different from her video game identity. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Just having all this focus on her, just like, hey, she's going to sing. And I'm thinking, yeah, but I don't really care that much about her character so far. Like, I just don't find her that interesting compared to the other ones. And that kind of made a lot of this episode fall a bit flat for me. Now, maybe she gets some more development later on and such, but that it just that part of the plot wasn't that interesting to me because it's all about the least interesting of the main three, and the plot itself isn't all that interesting. Hey, I'm gonna do a like a show. I'm pretty sure that this is going to intersect with the plot somehow. Like the bad guys are going to like do an attack during it or something. But
right.
But it just seems. But even if that's the case, we just spend a bunch of time on preparation and stuff, which is a little boring. And here I am just thinking, man, I just want to see more stuff with Knuckle Duster.
I just don't understand. I don't understand like why this is such a big deal about her, doing this whole thing. Like, does she get paid through these performances she does? Or does she just do them just for the sake of doing them, I just have so many questions about her. I don't understand her character. Like, is this all just a thing for her to make ends meet, or what? You know?
Hmm. Yeah, that is a question. I'm not sure if she does get paid if she makes money on this. So that's an interesting question. Yeah. Okay. So I don't think I have anything else to say about that other than we're getting close to the end of it. We've got 3 episodes left, so
Is there a second season, or is this it?
there is a second season that is announced, but it has not aired yet. I think it's coming next year.
Okay.
All right. And that's it for My Hero Academia Vigilantes, and that's it for all of those shows. So, shall we move on? Move on to, yes, giving our top choices.
Yeah. My top Toonami show of the week was Dawn to Dawn for the first time. I had a tough time deciding between Witch Watch and Yu Yu Hakusho. I went with Witch Watch. My best girl of the week has to go to Misaki from Bleach. And yep, that's all I got.
Well, for the non-Toonami series, it's pretty easily Yu Yu Hakusho for me as well. With Toonami, it's a trickier one. The problem I keep having with all the Toonami series is so many of them, it's like, well, I like this part of the episode, but I didn't like this part of the episode. And how do you average them out to decide which one was closest? I'm having some difficulty deciding between Don to Don and Bleach. Because even with all we can joke about retcons, I still thought it was actually an interesting enough story. I think Hmm. I think I'm just going to narrowly give it to Bleach, even if it sounded like I didn't like it. Yeah, it's a close. I'll let you. It's not like I'm keeping track of this anyway. I'll just say Bleach. You're keeping track of yours, but you don't. But no one's
Yeah.
keeping track of mine, so I can just say whatever.
Yeah.
Heck, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to say One Piece. There you go, everyone. My choice is One Piece, just for the heck of it. It actually isn't, but but I'm just doing this to screw with anyone who's actually trying to keep track of my stuff. I'm going
One
to come
Piece.
back. I'm going to come back to this and wonder. Wait, so what should I go actually write in my joke answer or my actual answer? Okay. For real, for an actual thing, in case historians decades into the future feel that they need to catalog what we chose for this podcast. I I think despite my despite my criticism, I think I'll give it to Bleach slightly over Don to Don.
Okay.
There we go. All right. Anything to talk about before we go?
Well, I'm still watching Bleach, and I've gotten to that arc that I did not like the first time around. It's the Zanpakuto arc where they have to fight their own Zanpakutos. And this really is confusing to me because, like, what happens is their Zanpakutos turn against them, so they basically have no power, no way of defeating them. So, like, the only way to defeat them is with, like, the power of their words. And it's, or in Ichigo's case, he can turn hollow, but then he's lost his mind. And it's not really Ichigo, it's this hollow doing it. I don't know. This arc is so bad, and I hated it the first time around. I think this is what got me to stop watching Bleach for a while. And but I'm still watching it every day to try to make it through the whole thing in a year. So we'll see if it's as bad as I remember it being, because so far it is. But who knows?
The main thing I remember from that arc was this later part where basically Byakuya Zanpakuto essentially just trolls the heck out of Renji's, which was, I remember that episode. I don't remember much else from the arc. So, yeah. Well, okay, I have a few things. Oh, first, there was this thing on 60 Minutes. I didn't watch. I mean, someone else was watching it, and I just happened to see some of it. It was just kind of about Japan and about how, you even seen him mentioning some anime about how there's like been some economic problems because of their declining birth rate and people not getting together and stuff. And it was mentioning something about how, companies are trying to cater more to singles, including like a single karaoke. And I mentioned that only because you briefly saw a guy singing something karaoke. And I recognize this song. It's Idol from Oshi no Ko. So, yeah. So they just have a guy doing karaoke. And it's that song I actually recognized. All right. That's all of that, I guess. Well, I guess just one brief thing I wanted to mention, because I remember last week I was talking a little about seinen and shonen, and I just realized, did I actually even define what those terms were when I was throwing them out? So I guess in case anyone's listening and is curious, to actually explain what shonen, seinen, what they mean is, they're just demographics. There's four main ones. They're for manga, and then they kind of extend into anime adaptations. Shonen, shoujo, seinen, and josei. Shonen means boy. It's for and it means like, males under 18. Seinen means young man, which means, people 18, boys 18 and old. Well, men 18 and older. Shoujo is just, girls less than 18, and then josei is, 18 and over female women. And that's basically, it's just demographics is what people refer to various manga stuff as. And it because the magazines are geared towards that. So you have a shonen magazine like Weekly Shonen Jump, and a seinen magazine like Weekly Young Jump. If it says, by the way, if the manga's magazine has young in the title, it basically always means it's seinen. And same thing with shoujo and josei. So yeah, that's the explanation for all of those things. And yeah, I don't have anything else to really say about that other than that. Those are manga demographics, but shonen is always the one that kind of dominates. Except for, I can't really categorize Anne Shirley because it wasn't based on a manga, but every show that we're currently watching is shonen except for Kowloon Generic Romance, which is seinen. So there you go. Now maybe you've learned something, or maybe you already knew all this, and that's nothing. So, this was a waste of time for you. Sorry if that's the case. And do you have anything else to say, or shall we stop?
That's it.
All right, everyone. We'll all see you next week for pretty much the same stuff, and we'll be done with Kowloon Generic Romance.
Bye.
When the clock strikes 5, it's time to take a dive into the action-packed underwater world of Magoozy. Awesome! Jump into the fun with the Goozy Gang.
Bring it on!
And get your favorite action tunes every single day starting at 5.
Another great day to be alive.
You've got friends under the sea every day from 5 to 7 on Magoozy.